February 14th, 1943. Near Sevastopol, Crimea. The air is brittle with cold. Frost crawls across the barrels of Mauser rifles lined along a shattered tree line. German infantrymen of the 132nd Infantry Division trudge through knee-deep snow, boots cracking the frozen crust with each labored step. Their breath clouds before them, ghostly shapes vanishing into the wind. Verdammt! They're ghosts, mutters Private Hans Eberhardt, his voice low. No one answers. The last 3 men in his patrol had been cut down hours earlier, each with a single bullet to the head. No muzzle flash, no warning. Only the sharp crack that echoed off the trees, followed by silence. Sergeant Otto Klein raises his field glasses. Tree line, 400 meters. Movement. He sees nothing but skeletal birch trunks and drifting snow. The silence is suffocating. Somewhere out there, someone is watching them. A whisper rides the wind. A crack, brief and final. Klein's cap jerks backward. He collapses face first into the snow before anyone can shout. The round has gone straight through his temple. "Sniper!" someone screams. The men dive for cover, crawling behind logs and shattered crates. But where? The snow is endless, white and blinding. The sniper is unseen. Hours later, when the patrol is finally ordered to fall back, a medic finds a single cartridge casing half buried near a snow-covered log. The markings are unfamiliar. Cyrillic, Soviet. When intelligence reports come in that evening, the German officers exchange uneasy glances. The sniper who has been tormenting their advance is said to be a woman, a Soviet lieutenant. Her name, Lyudmila Pavlichenko. In Moscow, 2 years earlier, Pavlichenko had been just another student, studying history at Kyiv University when the invasion began. She volunteered immediately, refusing to be confined to clerical work. "I'm not going to type reports," she had told the recruiter. "I want to shoot." After 6 months of training at the Central Women's Sniper School, she was deployed to the Southern Front, where the Black Sea winds cut through bone. By the time the Germans reached Sevastopol, she had already tallied over 180 confirmed kills. Officers, machine gunners, and even counter-snipers. The Germans called her Die unsichtbare Hexe, the invisible witch. To Pavlichenko, war was mathematics. Distance, wind, breath. Nothing more. She would crawl for hours across open ground, pressing her body into the frozen mud. The Mosin Nagant rifle clutched close. Her heartbeat slowed to match the rhythm of the snow. "Patience," she whispered to herself one morning, as a German spotter stepped into her crosshairs. A faint exhale, and the man fell before his boot touched the ground. Her spotter, a fellow sniper named Mikhail, glanced at her and muttered, "You never miss." She didn't smile. "They think women can't fight," she said quietly. "Let them think that a little longer." By spring, every German unit in the region had heard the name Pavlichenko. They called her the Lady Death of Sevastopol. Her bullet was always the last sound they heard. But behind the steel discipline, Lyudmila felt the weight of every kill. Each morning, she marked her tally in a small notebook, not as trophies, but as memories of faces she would never forget. The snow had swallowed them all, and as the war dragged deeper into 1943, she would soon face her most dangerous adversary yet. Another sniper sent to find and kill her. April 3rd, 1943. Outskirts of Sevastopol, Crimea. The ruins groan in the wind. Shattered stone walls jut from the earth like broken teeth. The remnants of once grand fortifications, now half buried beneath snow and ash. The Red Army holds what's left of the city, and among its defenders, Lyudmila Pavlichenko moves silently through the rubble. Her rifle wrapped in burlap, scope lens shaded to hide reflection. She's been hunting since dawn. Across the valley, German reinforcements have dug in behind sandbags and wrecked vehicles. Among them, Pavlichenko knows, is a specialist sent to kill her. A sniper duel. Invisible to everyone but the two souls whose lives balance on a trigger pull. Her spotter, Mikhail, scans through binoculars. "He's good," he whispers. "Missed me by inches earlier. Range maybe 500 meters." Lyudmila doesn't look up. "Good," she says softly, adjusting her scope. Let him think he's winning. For hours, neither side moves. The air hums with stillness. In the distance, artillery booms like distant thunder, shaking dust from broken ceilings. A dead horse lies frozen near a crater. Its hide stretched tight, blackened by frost. Then it happens. A glint, a reflection off glass. Just for an instant, but that's all she needs. She exhales slowly, fingers steady crack. The bullet punches through the German's position. Silence. Then the faint slump of a body. Mikhail lowers his binoculars. "You got him." Lyudmila keeps watching the tree line. No, he'll have a partner. She was right. Minutes later, a second shot rings out, ricocheting off the stone beside her cheek. Shards cut into her skin. She doesn't flinch. She counts. 1, 2, 3. Another shot. The rhythm gives him away. She fires again, 2 inches higher than before. The second sniper collapses without sound. That evening, Soviet infantry retrieved the bodies. Both men wear Waffen-SS insignia. One carries a small photo of a wife and child, the other a note. "Eliminate Pavlichenko. 5,000 Reichsmarks reward." Lyudmila studies the paper for a moment, then folds it into her pocket. 5,000 marks, she mutters. "I'm worth more than that." By summer, she is credited with over 300 confirmed kills, the most by any female sniper in recorded history. The Germans now circulate leaflets across the front lines, offering bounties for her death. The leaflets read, "Beware the Lady of Death. Her aim is perfect, her heart ice." Among Soviet troops, she becomes a legend, the symbol of defiance, of equality under fire. Young women volunteer to follow her path, enrolling in the Red Army's sniper schools near Moscow and Orenburg. By the end of the year, more than 2,000 female snipers serve in the Soviet ranks. They fight at Stalingrad, Kursk, Leningrad, crawling through snow and mud, striking from shadows the enemy never expects. To the Germans, the idea is almost unthinkable. "Women," scoffs a captured Feldwebel when interrogated by a Soviet officer. "You're lying. No woman shoots like that." The Soviet officer places a captured Mosin Nagant rifle on the table. She did, but even legends bleed. In June 1943, near the southern front, Lyudmila is wounded by mortar shrapnel. Her comrades drag her from the field, barely conscious, her rifle still clutched in her hands. Command orders her evacuated. Her war on the front is over. Before boarding the hospital truck, she turns back toward the smoke rising over the ridge. "Tell them," she says to Mikhail, her voice barely audible. "Tell them to keep their sights steady. Never let the Germans think they're the only hunters." She would never return to combat. But her legacy, and the thousands of women who followed her path, would change the Red Army forever. August 1943. Moscow, Soviet Union. Rain falls softly on the Kremlin walls as Lyudmila Pavlichenko limps through the gates, her left arm bound in bandages beneath her uniform. The pain from the shrapnel wound still lingers, but her eyes are steady, dark, sharp, unflinching. She has been pulled from the front lines not to recover, but to speak. The Soviet government has chosen her as a symbol of resilience, a living answer to Nazi propaganda claiming the Red Army is broken. In a small briefing room, a colonel hands her a set of papers. "You'll be representing the Soviet Union abroad," he explains. The Americans and British must see what we're fighting for. You are our best shot. Pavlichenko studies the itinerary. Washington, Ottawa, London. A sniper turned diplomat. She feels strangely out of place among the polished brass and diplomats. I don't wear lipstick, she mutters. I wear gunpowder. The colonel smiles faintly. Then wear both? The West listens better when they can picture a hero. September 1942. Washington, D.C. Timeline overlap to reflect the real event. Under gray skies, Lyudmila steps off the plane at Bowling Field. American reporters swarm the runway, flashbulbs popping. She's in her Soviet dress uniform, medals gleaming, her cap tilted precisely. Behind her, Soviet attachés watch nervously as journalists shout questions. Is it true you've killed over 300 Germans? Do you really think women can fight as well as men? She pauses, her translator whispering in her ear. Then she answers in clear, firm Russian. I kill fascists, not because I'm a woman, because I'm a soldier. The press falls silent. One correspondent lowers his notebook. The flashbulbs cease. Later that week, she meets Eleanor Roosevelt at the White House. The First Lady greets her warmly, shaking her hand. I've heard much about you, Lieutenant Pavlichenko. You're quite an example to women everywhere. Lyudmila smiles faintly. War gives no choice, Mrs. Roosevelt. We either fight or we die. The two women walked the garden paths for nearly an hour, discussing courage, equality, and the price of war. When Pavlichenko later addresses a crowd in Chicago, her words ignite a storm of applause. Gentlemen, she declares, I am 25 years old, and I have killed 309 fascists. Do you not think you have been hiding behind my back for too long? Her voice cuts like the report of a rifle. The audience rises to its feet. Men, women, veterans, workers. Even in a foreign land, her defiance feels universal. Meanwhile, back in Europe, German soldiers along the Eastern Front whisper her name with unease. The Soviets print her speeches in newspapers, broadcasting her legend across every division. Posters depict her face, calm, resolute, framed by the barrel of a rifle, with the caption, Comrade Pavlichenko watches, aim true. In sniper schools from Stalingrad to the Urals, young women study her notebooks, her calculations, her breathing techniques. Find patience in the wind, she had written. The bullet is only as calm as the shooter. As 1943 draws to a close, the Red Army begins its great push westward. Kursk has broken the back of Hitler's offensive. The air smells of oil and victory. But even as her country turns from defense to counterattack, Pavlichenko remains haunted by what she's seen. At night, in her Moscow quarters, she cleans her rifle, the same Mosin Nagant she carried through Sevastopol. Not to use it again, but because it feels like a piece of her soul. She stares out the window toward the eastern horizon, where the dawn light touches the clouds in faint crimson. Somewhere out there, new snipers, women she helped train, are lying in wait for their first targets, and she whispers, as if to them, breathe steady. One shot, one life. May 1944. Soviet Sniper Training School, Central Russia. The morning mist clings to the birch trees as rows of young women lie prone across a frost-covered field. Their breath rises in pale clouds, merging with the fog. At the far end of the range, wooden silhouettes of German soldiers sway gently in the wind. An instructor walks behind them, boots crunching softly on gravel. Remember your wind, she calls out. Don't chase your heartbeat, control it. Her name is Nina Lobkovskaya, a former student of Lyudmila Pavlichenko. At 20, Nina has seen more death than most men twice her age. She watched Pavlichenko's lectures on breathing control, camouflage, and patience. Now she teaches the same methods. crouched beside her trainees, whispering corrections as the thunder of distant artillery hums in the background. One cadet, no older than 17, flinches after her first shot. Nina places a steady hand on her shoulder. "You'll shake less after your 10th, she says gently. "And you'll cry after your first kill. That's how you know you're still human." While the men of the Red Army push west toward Poland, these women, over 2,000 in total, are spread across the front lines. Some guard flanks at night, others crawl through snow for days, living on frozen bread, sleeping beside their rifles. They operate in silence. At the 3rd Belarusian Front, Corporal Tatiana Baramzina spends 3 nights concealed near a German communications trench waiting for a single officer. When he appears, she fires once. The officer falls. Tatiana retreats into the mist, her breath trembling from exhaustion. A ghost among ruins. At Stalingrad, Rosa Shanina, barely 20, records in her diary, "I feel the rifle has become part of me. The sound of the bolt sliding home is my heartbeat now." She would not survive the war, but her journal would. A testament to youth consumed by necessity. Back in Moscow, Lyudmila Pavlichenko watches these names appear in dispatches. Her body has healed, but the front has moved beyond her reach. She attends meetings, speaks at assemblies, and visits hospitals filled with the wounded. Everywhere she goes, soldiers salute her. Some with reverence, some with awe, some with disbelief that a woman could inspire so much fear in the enemy. At one hospital, a nurse whispers as Pavlichenko passes, "She's the one, the Lady Death." Pavlichenko stops, turns, and says quietly, "No, I was just faster to learn." July 1944, Ukraine, near the Dniester River. A German prisoner, pale and hollow-eyed, is led through a captured trench. As he passes a Soviet officer, he mutters in disbelief, "You're snipers, the women. They never stop." The officer shrugs. Would you, if your home was on fire? The myth of Soviet women snipers spreads through both armies. Some exaggeration, some truth, all rooted in the shock that discipline and vengeance could wear a woman's face. In German briefings, officers issue new orders. Do not underestimate the female marksmen. They have no fear. In Soviet propaganda, posters declare, "Sisters of the Motherland. One bullet, one fascist." But in private, among themselves, the snipers write letters home. Pages filled not with glory, but with fatigue. "I dream of silence," writes one. "I want to hear wind without the sound of metal," another confides. When the war finally turns and the Red Army drives into Eastern Europe, Pavlichenko receives word that several of her protégés have been killed. She reads their names carefully, one by one, under her breath. Then she folds the telegram and places it inside her notebook, beside the tallies of her own fallen enemies. She no longer counts kills, only the names of those who followed her. May 9th, 1945, Victory Day. Moscow. Church bells echo across Red Square. Fireworks paint the sky, and soldiers cheer in drunken relief. Lyudmila stands among them, her uniform immaculate, medals gleaming under searchlights. She watches as the celebration swells around her. Laughter, dancing, music. For the first time in years, no shots are fired. No pings of sonar, no distant echoes. She exhales deeply, closing her eyes. In her mind, the field at Sevastopol remains frozen. Snow, silence, and the steady rhythm of a rifle bolt. And for a brief, fragile moment, she allows herself to remember not the hunt, but the stillness between the shots.